its ownership.
Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. And this is Game Talk. No, it's not. No, it's not. It was during the commercial, though. This is SCVi Charter Schools, Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I am your host, Matt Watson. It is good to have you in. This special edition of Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers is brought to you by KHTS, in collaboration with SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. We come to you live each day at 9 a.m. providing support and updates for you on your distance learning journey. And we are also here continually curating and updating our website, Homeschooling Answers. You know, that's a website that we launched when you all turned into teachers. You got your kids sent home on Friday the 13th, and you didn't realize that they were going to be doing the rest of the semester at home with you, but we did. Well, maybe we didn't realize it, but we knew you were going to need support, so we opened up this website, homeschoolinganswers.com, providing support for you to help supplement what your schools are doing, to help you keep your kids involved, engaged, interested. There's some really cool resources on there. Head on over to homeschoolinganswers.com and check it out, see what we've got there. Well, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday already. That's right. That is always my second favorite part of a holiday weekend. Of course, the first favorite is getting that long weekend. Second favorite is you get a fast pass to the next one. It is great. We've got a great show for you. Got a few guests lined up that we're really excited about. We're going to be talking to a Vice Chair of Advocacy for the Santa Clarita Valley Industrial Association. You probably know it as VIA. Jason Gibbs will be joining us here in just about a minute or so. He's done a pretty cool thing. He's gathered some of the stories of our local businesses, what they've gone through and what they're going through at this time. And we'll also be talking to Kathleen Fredette and Amber Soto. Those are a couple of my colleagues at iLEAD Charter Schools. The two of them are curriculum experts in their respective areas, and they're working on a couple of absolutely incredible projects that they're working on with some of the students at SCVi and our other iLEAD locations. You know, distance learning is not easy, but some places are doing it extremely well. And I think you're going to be inspired by what these two educators have for you during the second hour. And of course, we'll also wrap the show at just before 11 a.m. with our friend Kristina de Bree, our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist. All righty, y'all know me. Before we get to Jason, we're going to celebrate the holidays. I love the holidays. And I know Jason's on hold scratching his head wondering what holiday it is. Don't worry, I got you covered, man. Have you figured out what you're doing for dinner tonight or perhaps lunch a little bit later on today? Because today is National Brisket Day. That's right. Do you make a brisket? Today's your day to get your brisket on. It's National Brisket Day. Or maybe you prefer hamburgers. That's cool because today is also National Hamburger Day. So you've got two meats to choose from. But if you're a vegetarian, don't worry, we've got you covered. Right? Or maybe you're wondering what's for dessert. If you finish your brisket and your veggies, well, you are in luck because it is also National Grape Popsicle Day. So today is going to be a perfect day for a grape popsicle. And be nice and warm out there. Just make sure that you change into an old t-shirt. You don't want to get those new t-shirts stained. And a very important one here, okay? So today is also National Senior Health and Fitness Day. Especially given the stay-at-home order still in place, we all need to make sure that we keep up our health and fitness regimen, especially our seniors. You know, our options can be a little bit more limited at this time with gyms closed and social distancing being the norm, but there is still plenty that we can do. We can do some cardio or yoga in our living room. We can take a walk, avoiding our neighbors as we pass by, of course. We can walk up and down the stairs. That's great exercise for your lower body as well as the cardio. But also, you know, you can call the Senior Center. I bet they've got tons of ideas of how you can get connected, whether it's on TV or the computer. I'm sure they've got a bunch of different options for you. I couldn't even think of as many ideas as I know they've got for you there at the Senior Center. So pick up the phone, give them a call. If you're a senior and you need anything at all, from exercise tips, other health and wellness ideas to celebrate the day today, or even if you just need a good hot lunch or legal advice or anything at all, call the Senior Center. I bet you they've got a resource for you. They'd love to hear from you. Give them a call, 661-259-9444, 661-259-9444. I was talking to a friend just yesterday about how beautiful their new property, Bella Vita, is. And while it is currently not open for business, their services are just as beautiful as their facilities. So if you are a senior citizen and you need anything at all, even if you just want to chat with somebody, pick up the phone, give them a call, 259-9444. Now, we've set up today's holidays for you. Let's get down to the show. My first guest is Jason Gibbs. You probably know Jason Gibbs. If you don't, you should. Jason, like I said, is the Vice Chair of Advocacy for the Santa Clarita Valley Industry Association. It's also known as VIA around town. I found it interesting that Santa Clarita VIA was established the very same year that Jason himself was established. He's also the Senior Project Manager and Corporate Principal Engineer at GP Strategies Corporation, who received his master's degree in mechanical engineering. Yeah, he's a smart guy. From Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Jason grew up there in Santa Barbara and has been a resident of our fair city since 2012, where he remains extremely active, consistently working for a better Santa Clarita. Jason, welcome to the show.
Man, thank you so much. National Grape Popsicle Day, is that what I heard?
Absolutely. Got to get your grape on.
Man, okay, that's awesome.
It's going to be an amazing day. It's going to be an amazing day. I'm doing great. Fantastic. So, first of all,
by the way, just before I forget, we do need to have another show where we just talk about classic Atari, Nintendo, ColecoVision. We need to bring that all back. Kids need to know these things.
We absolutely will. We'll schedule it soon. We'll set it up. But Shane and I are going to switch seats, and I'm going to run the board, and he's going to have to facilitate the talk.
Deal.
All right, cool. Now, Jason, first of all, let's set the table a little bit for our listeners. There are some of our listeners that might be tuning in that aren't exactly sure what VIA is. Can you share a little bit about what your mission is and what VIA does for our business community?
No, absolutely. So, yes, I serve as the Vice Chair of Advocacy for the Valley Industry Association. We are a professional community that works on bringing businesses together, doing the networking and collaborating with organizations, helping you form those partnerships and get your exposure out there. We're also big in the education world, too. We do a lot with a program called Connecting to Success, where we work with the Heart District or, helping students who are getting ready to move on to the college world and, get those jobs and be able to have those everyday skills that they need. One of the things that I got to be involved with this past year was what we call the CEO Forum, and I think it's going to become an annual event that we do where we bring business leaders together here in Santa Clarita and basically have a large round table, and we start discussing what it is they need, what it is they feel that they're missing in their businesses, what they feel their new employees and old employees are lacking or have, and we keep finding ways that VIA can be involved in moving our businesses forward. And it's a wonderful organization. I truly recommend anybody check it out. I've enjoyed it. I've been there a couple of years now, and just getting involved. And we've always considered ourselves a little business family, and everyone's there looking out for you. And it's opened up a lot of doors, and I've met a lot of great people for it. So I'm really happy with VIA, and we're hoping that at the end of this year we'll be able to do our annual bash as things come together and we're all able to gather and see each other again, other than just looking behind each other on Zoom meetings and finally deciding who's too close to their camera or who's sitting in the right spot. But no, VIA is a wonderful organization, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. We appreciate how much you guys support local businesses as well as the schools, which are so important in our community. Now, you are, as I mentioned, our Vice Chair of Advocacy. What does that mean? What's your role with VIA?
So basically, Matt, what I do is I'm always trying to stay abreast on what's happening both locally up in Sacramento and nationally on policies or directives that are going to affect our local businesses. So we try to do at least a monthly meeting. We pulled back a little bit, obviously, when the COVID crisis came into play, and been keeping an eye on things. But as we see businesses starting to get a chance to reopen and life getting a little bit of normalcy, we're going back to following things like what's going on with split roll, what's happening with state budgets and how that could affect local businesses in terms of taxes and payrolls, and we're just here to kind of keep everybody appraised on what we're seeing happening. And it's also an opportunity where I like to have people come in and talk to me, which will kind of lead to our discussion today, on what it is they're seeing in their industry and in their business, specifically. and that allows us to tailor our message and tailor our advocacy efforts to help them and shine a light on things that may sometimes get missed just in the big picture on what we see on headlines.
Yeah, definitely. Jason, you're a great guy doing great things around our city, and I know that VIA is just one of them. And you really do seem to have your finger on the pulse of what's going on. The reason I invited you on today, if you remember, I know our guest may not be aware, you reached out on social media. You wanted to hear the stories of our local businesses, what they're dealing with right now, what they're going through, and how they're dealing with the current crisis. So let's start here. Jason, why is this so important to you? Why is it important for you to know the specific individual stories of our various community businesses?
Well, Matt, I think aside from just wanting to have a pulse on what our residents and what our community is dealing with at a very specific nature, the way this came about is we were very fortunate at VIA to hold a Zoom event about a week and a half ago or so now with the president and CEO from Mission Valley Bank, Ms. Tamara Gurney. And, as many of us are getting used to this new Zoom world, a lot of times when we log onto these meetings, anywhere from maybe 30 to 50 people kind of come in and out. And, while the talkers always usually have very good subject matter discussed, very often we get kind of lost in doing our other things, or our kids run into our offices while we're working and dogs are barking, so there's a lot of distractions. But when Ms. Gurney came on, she was answering questions from people, all about PPP and loan processes and how they're handling, issues like that. And we had well over 100 people on. And as I remember following the Zoom meeting, everybody was so focused and paying attention and constantly writing down notes. It was just a very different experience, and everyone had really great questions, and there just seemed to be almost a lack of understanding on what they had to do in order to apply for programs or understanding how the programs work. And I just got this sense of really big concern, because a lot of times we just see the headlines of the CARES Act is here, and now we have PPP, and people have these 8 weeks to have money available to them to keep their employees, and things are fine. But I didn't get that feeling when I was actually seeing individuals who have to deal with that process. And for me, as in my world, in the engineering world, it's not something that I've had to deal with personally, because the rocket launch world's still active and going strong. It's one of the essential businesses. Even today, I posted that SpaceX is going to be launching astronauts for the first time on the American soil in the last 8 years.
Yeah. So
we've been very busy, but I'm seeing all of these people that I care about who are still struggling, even though there's a sense of help is out there. And so after that, I remember I went out and was just running a couple quick errands, and I just started talking to a few of the businesses I went to. Just, how's it going? Are you able to navigate? Are things going okay? And I didn't get a message back of, you know what, we're fine, or yep, we feel good, or things look good. It was, Jason, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what's going to happen in a week or 2 weeks. Even if we turned everything on tomorrow, we don't know if we can recover. And so it prompted me to get on social media and just reach out to people and say, look, we want to understand what it is you're seeing, what it is you're experiencing, so that not only can we relay it back to our leaders, which has been very important in terms of advocacy, as we saw yesterday with the county helping getting things move forward, but it gave us a real sense of what people are truly having to deal with in their businesses. And then not only that, but what they're doing to make the best of it, how they're trying to move forward in a safe and positive way. And it was a great thing I think we put out there. We had probably 40 to 50 responses within the first 3 to 4 hours.
Wow. And
I had people sending just private messages, just giving little details. Some gave real detailed stories. Others just gave quick little 1 or 2 sentences. So it was a wide range of responses.
Hearing those stories is so important. We can read statistics in, online in the newspaper, things like that. X amount of businesses have closed, or even when we hear, I think the one in the headlines yesterday, Pier 1 Imports after 58 years is closing their doors. But it's different when you hear those personal stories, especially from people that you know. They can be heartbreaking. They can be inspiring. How people are shifting, innovating, things like that. So you're getting dozens and dozens of stories that you're hearing, and I want to get to one in just a second. But what are some of the commonalities that you're finding? What are some of the things that you're hearing that maybe are repeating themselves, or that you're hearing over and over?
I think honestly the biggest one has been the majority of the businesses and the owners who responded all believe that they have a personal responsibility to protect the people that make their businesses work. And there's always the big concern about, how are you implementing, social distancing? How are you implementing, face coverings and keeping crowds and gatherings of your employees down as best that you can? Every one of these organizations seem to be putting that on themselves almost immediately. And they're doing it even when they don't have directive from the county or the state or the city on, if I do these things, will I open or will I be able to continue my operations? They're taking it amongst themselves as saying it is on us to do this and we're going to do this now. But that's leading into people saying, now that I'm doing it, why am I seeing business X being able to open when my business is directly adjacent or very similar, yet I'm not grouped in with this class or this class? And so that's been one of the biggest things I think that we saw come about. And then one other big one I saw was, let me see here, I wrote a couple of notes here for you. Again, there was a general tone of fear, as I call it, but it was more fear of misunderstanding because they don't know what's coming. They want to do everything they can to have their business up running safely. But there was just this disconnect of, okay, what do I need to do in order to make that happen? What is the county need from me? What is needed from me from the state to say, yes, you're doing everything you should be doing to operate safely and to be able to reopen your doors?
That's so interesting because we're seeing pretty much the exact same thing in the education world that, oftentimes we say we've got to have all these accountability measures in place so that the teachers and administrators will do the best job possible. Yet when we took away all those accountability measures this year, teachers and principals stepped in and doubled their efforts, for the good of those that keep our schools, our businesses going. And at the same time, educators are a little trepidatious, a little fearful about what's going to come next semester, what's going to come over the course of the next year or so, and how we're going to get back into whatever it looks like moving forward. Jason, we've got just about a minute before we need to take a break. Do you have any specific stories that you're able to share before, maybe just one story before we take a commercial break?
Well, I'll give one. There was one quote that kind of summarized everybody very, very well in terms of a final message, and I'll just share that. And the quote was, in summary, the government mandated that we had to close. There was unemployment available for those individuals laid off for personal expenses, but the same support didn't seem to be there for businesses. Financial obligations continue, and some are actually putting little businesses into debt when there wasn't any before. And we as small business owners didn't choose to close our store, but a lot of the burden seems to rest with us. And that was kind of the general message. They're feeling that they did what they were supposed to do, that they did what was right and what was best for their community and their employees. But now they're feeling that when we get started again, the support needs to be there for them to get help the same way that they help their community.
Absolutely, it does. Jason, like I said, we do need to take a quick commercial break. Are you able to stick around for the next break, talk with us for another 10 minutes or so?
Sure, man. Let's do it.
Fantastic. We're talking to Jason Gibbs, Vice Chair of Advocacy for the Santa Clarita Valley Industry Association. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
I never thought I'd be looking for an assisted living home until Mom got sick. Suddenly, there were questions that I didn't have answers to, and only limited time to find the answers. What facility could take the best care of Mom? Then my mother's social worker gave me a brochure for assisted living locators and informed me that Assisted Living Locators is recommended by more healthcare professionals than any other agency.
Call Shannon at Assisted Living Locators, 544-1004. That's 544-1004.
Set your kids' creativity with a new twist on fun. Painting with a Twist, where professional artists guide your child during each painting party to create a finished work of art they can proudly hang at home or give to a loved one. Private parties, birthday parties, Friday night teen night, kids camp, daily events all summer. Visit paintingwithatwist.com, Golden Valley and Santa Clarita near Target. Painting with a Twist is your party destination for kids of all ages.
There's a very good reason Embrace Your Smile has been voted Santa Clarita's #1 orthodontist for 10 years in a row.
Honestly, it's our team.
Dr. Megan LaCornu.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come up to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LaCornu of Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
As the stay-at-home order continues, Burger King is committed to following state and federal safety guidelines when it comes to serving you, the customer. Although in-restaurant dining has closed, pickup and delivery service continues. The current hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can mobile order through the BK app for pickup, or you can use any of the delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Postmates. Burger King on Lyons at the 5 Freeway, now with service at 2 drive-through windows.
Introducing Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's second luxury senior living community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll have access to full-time assisted living services provided by compassionate staff in the privacy of your own home. Oakmont's Diabetic Wellness Program offers assistance with monitoring and managing glucose levels, meals, exercise, and activities. Oakmont of Valencia offers a fully equipped wellness center and concierge medical program, allowing outside physicians to visit on site. Discover the care your loved ones deserve in a resort-style setting. Visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. You know, we're also here on Facebook Live if you'd rather peer in the studio and see what it looks like. Not super exciting in here. You're going to see me sitting here by myself wearing a mask. Why is he wearing a mask by himself, you say? Because he's not by himself. Can you see the fingertips of Engineer Shane there? He's sitting across the board from me. He's got his mask on as well. We're staying safe, doing what we need to do. This is SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I am Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Vice Chair of Advocacy for Santa Clarita Via Valley Industry Association, Jason Gibbs. Jason, thanks again for joining us. Thanks for sticking around. You know, you and I were talking during the break about the need to support our businesses. You know, when we flipped the switch off and said, hey, we've got a major health crisis here and your community needs you to shut down for a little while, our businesses complied, and they said, hey, you know, we are nothing if we don't support our communities, and so they did that. But it's not just as simple as throwing that switch back on, right? I think of, you know, an old electrical generator where, you know, you need to prime it a little bit. The old water pump metaphor. You've got to prime that pump before things start flowing. And it's really important that we support our businesses as they start to open back up, because our businesses play such a huge role in our community, don't they?
Absolutely, right. You hit the nail on the head there. I don't see it, and I think most people don't believe that if tomorrow it was decided that we're good to go, everybody, let's just fire back up and get rolling, there's still going to be that sense of fear in people and a sense of, I need time to get comfortable again with going back to the life that we led. And a lot in the business community that we talk to are saying that we understand that, but the issue we have here is we've been completely shut down and everything has stopped. And if we don't get moving again, and if we don't start doing it in a safe manner, not just turn everything on and forget what we've been trying to accomplish, that a lot of these small businesses, you know, we've read about the large companies that aren't doing anything anymore. You know, we talked about the pure imports that shut down. Right. A lot of the small businesses who put everything they had into the lives they created are looking at losing it. And I've talked to a few that have been staples here in this community that have said, look, we don't want to shut our doors. We love what we do here, but the bottom line is if we're not moving in the next couple months to where we can start getting business back and start paying our bills and paying back our loans that we've been taken upon us in order to get through and do what's right for the community, we can't maintain and we can't stay. And right. It's a very, very real thing we're seeing, and a lot of business leaders understand that, and that's why you're seeing a much louder voice, not a voice of desperation, but a voice of, we need you to understand now that we want to do what's right, and doing what's right also means being safe and smart and continuing to move forward.
Absolutely. So it's not just a black or white issue of, okay, we need to start making money now, and
That's right.
so let's disregard everyone's health. It's like you said, doing it in the right way. But let's not forget that these businesses also play such a huge role in the community, that businesses, the potential of businesses shutting down in our area then has a secondary effect on the organizations that those businesses support. You know, if businesses in this valley start
right,
to shut
Matt.
down.
In fact, we got a few stories from a lot of our prominent local nonprofits, and one of the big things I took away was Ms. Laura Kirchhoff from Circle of Hope reached out, and she made a great comment. She said, you know, obviously as our businesses have to go idle, and they aren't able to be in a position to give and contribute and donate that we used to see, our nonprofits also see a direct effect of that as well. But the scary part about it is, you know, from a Circle of Hope standpoint, people who are fighting cancer and dealing with cancer and needing treatments, cancer doesn't just take a break too. It doesn't just stop. And so those people who still need their services, they still are looking for a way to get help. And it's the same thing with the Boys and Girls Club when they're forced to shut down, you know, their organization and close their doors at least temporarily to its right. Those kids now still need a place to be and a place to be safe.
Right.
So like you said, that there is a trickle down effect that's very real.
Definitely. So, Jason, as a community leader, as an advocate, what are these stories telling you about the current climate and situation? What are some of the conclusions you're drawing?
The biggest one for me, Matt, is you can't just read a headline anymore. You know, I often kind of quip about the idea that we're the new meme culture, where we think every issue that we're dealing with, be it political, non-political, economic, non-economic, we believe it can be answered with a picture and then one sentence. And the reality is that these things are too complicated. There are too many moving parts. There are too many different situations that require more thought, that require a different approach. And while you can have a umbrella type idea on how you want to help, it's very, very important to get down into the weeds with everybody and understand exactly what it is they deal with, to be able to tailor messaging, to be able to tailor resources and support to help those groups in a specific way. And I think that's more important than anything. You know, unfortunately now that we're pushing into June, and there's all kinds of heat coming out now. Are we going too slow? Are we moving too fast? Should we open up tomorrow? What businesses should open up? We're getting to the point of people getting scared, and there's a lot more fire that you see on the social media websites. 10 weeks ago, there was a very strong message here in Santa Clarita. We're here to support each other. We're here to help, and everybody was finding ways to do what they can. You know, for me personally, it was going out, and if there were people who, with young children or immunocompromised, who just needed diapers or couldn't find toilet paper or cleaning supplies, we were just putting messages out that if you need anything, just let us know. It doesn't matter how simple it is or how big it is. Yeah. And we were finding ways just to drop it off at the doorstep. Oh, you need baby wipes, you need diapers for your newborn, and you can't go out. It would just show up. And, you know, so many people, including my wife, just got involved and said, well, if we need masks, then we're going to start making masks. And so everybody was stepping up to do something, and that's still happening. But now there's a little more fire in the belly of, okay, we need to move forward. We need to start bringing our life back online, and we can't just sit back anymore.
Yeah, people are getting frustrated. He is Jason Gibbs. He's bringing the good back. Now, Jason, over the last couple of days, and gosh, over the last 24 hours, we've gotten quite a few updates from Governor Newsom, the County Board of Supervisors, the City Council just last night had a long meeting with a lot of information, a lot of things happening. How do you personally feel with the direction that we're moving in, and what actions do you feel need to be taken next?
It was nice to see that the county ended up coming out and saying that we're going to start applying for the variances. I think that's important. It provides a little more, to the idea that different regions are going to see different outcomes and different responses from the COVID-19. There are some areas that aren't being affected heavily, and there are areas that are. And I think it's important now that we're seeing more numbers and more data and more effects of what's coming. We can tailor different counties and different cities to start back up or open certain businesses in certain ways in a safe manner and an effective manner, and not just take a one-size-fits-all approach of just sit back and let's just keep waiting and keep waiting. Because I don't believe the majority of business owners think that that's viable. And they believe that if they can come up with their own internal methods on how they're protecting, how they're keeping safe, how they're cleaning, how they're doing the best for not only their employees but their customers, I think it's important that they have the ability to demonstrate that and be able to open up in an effective manner. And so it was nice to see the variance come in. I know that the city's already put the application in, so there's a lot of hope that maybe by the end of the week or early next week we can move forward in the opening phases. And Lord knows we all need a haircut.
Absolutely. I haven't had a wave on my head this big since the 1980s. Oh, definitely. So, you're right. It can be frustrating. So, Jason, what can the typical citizen, what can an average citizen do to help move things along? Because, for businesses and for individual citizens, it can be a little frustrating as well, as the target seems to keep moving, right? It's not the mayor, it's the city council. It's not the city council, it's the county board of supervisors. Or wait a minute, no, it's the governor. Now we can open shops, but we can't get a haircut. But maybe we can get a haircut soon, unless we live in LA. And churches will be open back up, but the churches better have their attorneys take a look at closely how they can open back up, because I saw those restrictions and they're confusing. So what can an average citizen do to help their communities? Because you're absolutely right. 10 weeks ago, we saw so much good coming out of each one of us. And sure, we're getting frustrated, but we need to keep moving in the right direction. We need to keep supporting each other in our community. What can we do to move our community along?
Well, aside from continuing as best we can that positive message and being there for each other, and when you can, you support your local businesses and you support your local nonprofits, even if it's in a diminished capacity because of the economic situation we're in, you can't stop forgetting that they're there. But the biggest thing, and I think Mayor Smythe had mentioned this before, and this is significant, you have to speak up. You don't have to yell. You don't have to accuse. But your story is important. And that was everything that we were doing here at VIA and getting these stories. These stories matter because when our leaders look to do what's best for people, they need to understand truly what the people are seeing and how they're being impacted. And it can't be more, like I said, it can't be more than just the one-sentence meme, and this is going to be what fixes everything or doesn't fix everything. Everyone is seeing and facing difficulty in their own way. And you got to remember that your story matters. And you can relay your story in a positive way, in an honest way. And that I think that's what's needed more than anything is don't get lost in the rhetoric. Don't get lost in just getting online and being a keyboard warrior and typing angrily at somebody that disagrees with you. People are going to disagree with you, and that's okay. But just make sure it's your story that you're getting out in your experiences, because that's what leaders are going to look for. That's what they're going to look for when they're looking for support, when they're looking to their community to say, if you need help from us, I need to understand exactly what it is you need and how best we can facilitate that to get that to you.
That's really interesting, and you're absolutely right. Oftentimes the ones that are shouting the loudest behind that keyboard are the ones that get ignored the quickest, right? Well, Jason,
that's right.
We thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want the community to know before you go?
Honestly, Matt, I would just say, again, as we just reiterate, stay positive, stay strong, continue to get your message out, continue to get your voice out. We'll get through this. We will open up. And when that happens, I think we need to remember what has made Santa Clarita great. And it's everybody who comes together, does a positive thing for this community, because all it takes is a snowflake to make an avalanche. So we all got one little thing to add. Make sure you add it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jason, we really appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything you're doing on behalf of our community. He's Jason Gibbs from the Valley Industry Association. Jason, you're doing great work. Thanks again.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
You take care. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We will be back with more of SCVi Charter Schools' Eye in the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Consumers Furniture is back open for your business. The safety of our community and our staff, above all, is most important to us. We will provide a safe and clean environment for you to find the perfect piece of furniture for your home. To help you with your purchase, we are offering 25% off your entire order or 24 months same as cash financing. And for our awesome essential workers, we will deliver locally your furniture free of charge. Consumers Furniture is located in the Centerpoint Shopping Center below Sam's Club and Walmart.
Dreaming of becoming the next Steph Curry or Klay Thompson? Or maybe just you want your kid to look good and have fun on the court? Introducing the Shotmaster. The Shotmaster is a revolutionary basketball training aid that isolates the shooting pocket, allows you to develop that consistent shot. Shotmaster will improve your shooting efficiency, accuracy, and shooting percentages dramatically. It's the ultimate training device. There's nothing like it. Visit shotmaster.net and discover for yourself how Shotmaster will become your game changer. Shotmaster.net.
Cbc Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. Cbc is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have Cbc clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers and Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
And now a word from Dr. Pilecki.
Could taking ibuprofen actually increase your risk for coronavirus? France's Minister of Health thinks so, and so does the British Medical Journal, stating that taking anti-inflammatory drugs could aggravate the infection. Jean-Louis Monstron, professor of pharmacology, Central University Toulouse, said that the corona-boosting effects of ibuprofen are no surprise. And Paul Little, professor of primary care research, University of Southampton, said that complications of respiratory infections are more common when anti-inflammatory drugs are used, citing 2 randomized controlled studies where ibuprofen resulted in more serious illness. Ian Jones, professor of virology, University of Reading, said that the anti-inflammatory properties of ibuprofen dampens the immune system, interfering with the patient's recovery. In fact, all anti-inflammatory medications block prostaglandins, which, while are inflammatory, also play a critical role in a healthy immune response. And it's the inhibition of this healthy kind of inflammation that causes the majority of severe side effects of all anti-inflammatory medication. Now we can see that certain kinds of inflammation are actually good for you, especially when fighting infection. Fevers under 101 lasting less than 24 hours should be considered a healthy immune response. Of course, follow all CDC recommendations for safety when dealing with coronavirus. And if you want to reduce your risks even more, you can download my free Healthy Living COVID-19 program at drpilecki.com and on the KHTS Coronavirus Experts page.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Well, we just wrapped up with Jason Gibbs from VIA, the Valley Industry Association, and he had some important things to share about what's going on in our business community. You know, things are really changing rapidly. There's a lot of news coming out in our community, in Southern California, and in our state as well. It's funny, when I woke up this morning, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was asking about, hey, you talked to the mayor yesterday. Did you watch the city council meeting yesterday? What are some of the updates? And I just kind of chuckled because I thought, how much time have you got? There's a lot of updates. There's a lot of things happening. This here is my opinion, but I think it's really interesting watching how the whole petition for a variance story has kind of played out. A couple of weeks ago, our mayor and city council penned a letter to the county board of supervisors that basically said, hey, Santa Clarita, Lancaster, Palmdale, those areas are significantly different in how they're geographically set up, and also in how they're experiencing this outbreak, this pandemic. Very, very different than areas like, Mid-City, Metro LA, Silver Lake, Echo Park, some of those areas that are more densely populated and have experienced much higher rates. And so they requested what's called a variance, an opportunity or an option, if you will, to be treated a little bit differently than the rest of the county. So perhaps we could get placed on a little bit more of an accelerated timetable, as Jason mentioned earlier in the hour. Doing so in a way that would take care of employees and patrons, but can businesses start to open back up maybe a little bit quicker than in the rest of the county? They sent that letter in, and the County Board of Supervisors has been discussing it for the last week and a half. There was conversation. There was quite a bit of conversation at their meeting yesterday, and they did table a vote. But in the meantime, the county has started to, it seems like, accelerate or at least add new things to the list of things that can be opened up. And at the same time, has also forwarded our concerns on to Governor Newsom, who, again, in turn, seems to have accelerated the pace a little bit. Now, it may be, just kind of the natural progression, the natural evolution of how this pandemic is rolling out, and perhaps maybe ebbing a little bit, that the county and the state are willing to allow some of the other organizations, our retail organizations, to open up. And now we're talking about possibly getting back into the malls here pretty soon, and getting back into restaurants. I mentioned over the weekend I was in a neighboring county and was able to sit down in a restaurant and enjoy a burrito and a tostada with my son. And so some of the counties and perhaps some of our subregions are able to head in that direction. And again, this might be just the natural progression, but it seems to me that, the city of Santa Clarita seems to be either leading or maybe pushing some of the other governmental organizations to move things along. And so whether we end up getting this variance or not, or I think it's absolutely realistic to think that we are out there leading and reminding our Board of Supervisors, our Department of Health, our governor, that we're ready. It's time to keep the ball rolling. And obviously we're going to take care of each other. We're going to take care of ourselves, take care of our employees and patrons, but we're ready. So I think that's kind of interesting. Before these different governmental entities even answer our request for a variance, they're easing things forward. So either way, whether it's a positive response to our request or just moving forward, it's good news. Speaking of good news, Six Flags Magic Mountain mentioned or announced yesterday, they're set to reopen. Now they're going to be using temperature checks. They're going to be checking the temperatures of their employees and their guests as they come in. They're also going to be requiring reservations before you're going to be allowed to enter the park. No date has been set for our local park to reopen, but the Six Flags Park in Oklahoma is going to be the first one to come back online June 6th. So again, no word when our local park, Magic Mountain, is going to open here in Santa Clarita, but they've got a plan to reopen. And speaking of reopening, the Newhall Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV here just down the block, announced that they're going to be reopening tomorrow. But for the love of all things holy, do not go in there without an appointment. That's just a bad idea, pandemic or not. So if you've got business to take care of at the DMV, good news, they're going to be open tomorrow. But unless you've got a good 3 or 4 days to disappear into a black hole, make an appointment first, right? It was also announced by Governor Newsom that hair salons, yes, I know you've all been waiting to hear this, hair salons and barbershops will be part of Phase 3. We are currently full bore Phase 2. Phase 3 will include hair salons and barbershops. And now, they did announce that unless you live in LA County, because LA County is one of those 8 to 10 counties that are on a little bit slower of a timetable due to our rate of infection and death rates and things like that. So unless unless our county or our subregion is granted one of those variances that we've requested. So hopefully we can all get out there and get a haircut soon. Governor Newsom did say that nail salons will be open a little bit later, as their reopenings are going to be a little bit more complicated. So the governor and his team are still working on how a nail salon is going to be able to do business. You're just going to have to keep biting your nails for a little while longer. You know, I thought it was interesting with hair salons and barbershops opening. If you are going to get a haircut, it's going to be under some strict conditions. And those conditions were announced, and some of them made me chuckle a little bit. They're entirely important and no laughing matter, but they did mention that for nail salons and barbershops to reopen, it's going to require the face coverings for staff and customers. And that makes absolute sense. But my son wondered yesterday how they're going to cut his hair without cutting off his mask. I'm wondering if we're each going to have like 2 little stripes in the back of our head of uncut hair. It's going to require the frequent disinfecting of booths and stations and tools, which you can understand. Customers are going to need to be contacted before appointments to ensure that they're not exhibiting symptoms. So your hairdresser is going to become a deputized health official conducting screening. So I guess you can expect a phone call ahead of time to make sure that you're not having symptoms. They're also going to be staggering appointments to reduce crowding. You know, I joke a little bit about it, and we all complain a little bit about it, but how many of us remember the autumn of 2001? You know, we made fun of the new travel restrictions at the airport after 9/11, and we all complained for a while, and some of us, you know, almost 20 years later are still complaining, but we got used to it. For better or for worse, it's the new normal, and we will get used to these new restrictions and guidelines and ways of doing things, you know. And when we can curtail these measures, great. But in the meantime, we're just gonna get used to it. So, you know, let's just stay safe out there. Let's continue to take care of each other, and let's live up to our nickname, Awesome Town. It's time for us to check local and national news stories and get some updates right now. But stick around. When we come back, we have got 2 of the most amazing educators you've ever heard from. You are listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
The stress was unbelievable.
Debbie Morris is a changed woman.
A giant boulder's been lifted.
Debbie called Made for You.
I'd finished a day of work.
Professional, residential, and commercial cleaning.
Walk into my house.
Made for You.
It was an absolute pigsty.
Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning.
Our mess kept growing.
255-2922.
Even when we weren't home.
255-2922.
Made for You rescued me.
Facey knows life gets busy. Let us go to work for you in the Santa Clarita Valley. We have 34 primary care physicians and 55 specialty doctors in 4 offices. And Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS with some extended hour appointments available. We are Facey Medical Group. Let us go to work for you today. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
Your building sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new, larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you with a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new, bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
NASA's hoping to make history. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A SpaceX rocket and capsule are on the launch pad in Florida, the first private company to launch U.S. astronauts if all goes as planned.
The only thing at this point that appears that could scrub the 4:33 Eastern Time blastoff would be weather. Currently, the weather forecast at launch time is 60% favorable. NASA's calling it Launch America, marking the first time in nearly a decade that we have launched American astronauts from Florida.
Fox's Phil Keating at the Kennedy Space Center. President Trump and the First Lady heading to Florida for the launch after the president wrapped up a White House meeting with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. His latest of several visits focusing on the coronavirus response, New York's reopening, and an infrastructure push that both support, especially while interest rates are so low and jobs are needed for recovery. Earlier, the president using Twitter to criticize the company for adding fact-check links to his posts about mail-in voting.
The president tweeted, quote, "Twitter is now interfering in the 2020 presidential election. They are saying my statement on mail-in ballots, which will lead to massive corruption and fraud, is incorrect based on fact-checking by fake news CNN and the Amazon Washington Post. Twitter is completely stifling free speech, and I, as president, will not allow it to happen."
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. Twitter says the links were added to give additional context to information that could potentially be misleading. A Tampa Bay Times report says both the president and his new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, have used the convenience of voting by mail many times. McEnany has defended the president's argument that while needed in certain circumstances, it should not be available to everyone who is able to vote in person. America is listening to Fox News.
From nurses to truck drivers, doctors to grocery clerks, the front lines in today's crisis are filled with brave actions every day. And you can do your part by completing the 2020 census. This simple effort online, by phone, or by mail will help impact the next 10 years of healthcare, schools, and roads. All of our first responders need your response. So go to 2020census.gov today. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
How much money would you like to save just by doing something you're already doing? 15 or 25%? How about 30%? Here in California, Allstate Safe Drivers can save 30% just by doing something they're already doing. Driving safe. That's right, 30% just by driving safe. Allstate can help lower your cost of driving. Safe drivers can save 30% or more. Visit allstate.com or call a local agent for a quote today.
Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Stations, this is Fox News Radio in New York, coming up on your unanchored web stream in about 15 minutes' time. Once again, your unanchored web stream in about 15 minutes' time. A feed out of California where Governor Newsom is going to have a coronavirus presser. That is coming up on your unanchored web stream in about 15 minutes' time. Fox News Radio New York.
Monday of George Floyd, a black forgery suspect who died in custody after being seen on video begging an officer to stop, kneeling on his neck.
Just tired of this keep happening, and the police getting away with it, nothing's happening.
That protester, one of many calling for justice, though the FBI has launched a civil rights investigation, and the 4 officers involved have been fired. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The owner of Backwater Jack's, a business criticized for hosting crowded parties over the weekend at Missouri's Lake of the Ozarks, says no laws were broken and safety measures were used, including hiring medical staff to take temperature checks at the entrance. State health officials have said those partygoers should consider self-quarantine. Plans for a Major League Baseball season are apparently caught in a debate over player salaries.
The MLB Players Association is expected to file a counteroffer this week after balking at a league proposal that would see significant cuts to player pay that would already be prorated as a result of a shortened season. According to multiple reports, MLB suggested a sliding scale that would see all-stars take the hardest hit. For example, LA Angels slugger Mike Trout, who would make around $19 million for an owner-proposed 82-game season, would make just about $6 million in base salary. The Players Union is anticipated to also recommend a lengthier season in their counter-proposal, with the hopes of striking a deal for a 2020 campaign to start in early July, as owners had hoped. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow's been rallying for a second day, up more than 200 points for the most part, but the Nasdaq's lower. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260 CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
The coronavirus has put us in a position of creating a new normal. Family Law at Home understands. Their goal is to meet you in the safest place possible, and these days that might be in your own home in a virtual meeting. Family Law at Home will provide you with immediate advice on your family law matters, such as divorce cases, child custody disputes, and domestic violence. It's as easy as going to FamilyLawAtHome.com. You'll choose your own consultation date and be in immediate contact with one of their esteemed attorneys. Family Law at Home handles the legal aspect while you and your family navigate the new chapter in your lives. Go to FamilyLawAtHome.com. Hey, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. A hot one today with highs in the 90s, overnight lows in the 60s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, including the latest on COVID-19 here in the Santa Clarita area, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station. 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Although I have a sneaky suspicion that the show's about to be taken away from me. There could be a mutiny afoot. My next 2 guests are my colleagues, my coworkers, my partners on the iLEAD Maker Team. The iLEAD Maker Team is a group of about 6 curriculum specialists, and they support each one of our different schools. We've got about 10 schools around the country, and the Maker Team supports all of our teachers, although we call them facilitators, and our principals, although we call them directors. We call things a little bit different because we do things a little bit different, and the iLEAD Maker team is the team that makes so much of it happen. You know, we've been talking about some of the really cool projects that have been going on in some of our classrooms and the incredible social emotional learning that continues to keep happening even though it's being done virtually. And it's the iLEAD Maker team that's behind the inspiration and training of a lot of the incredible facilitators that we have leading those experiences for our kids. We're welcoming in, like I said, two of the members of that team. Kathleen Fredette is Director of STEAM Initiatives with iLEAD Schools. Prior to working for iLEAD, she specialized in middle school gifted math and science, remedial math, and STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math. Kathleen has spent most of her career on the forefront of the field of science and engineering and education. She's an airborne astronomy ambassador for NASA SOFIA, a NASA Endeavor Leadership Distinction Award recipient, a Woman in Aerospace National Award recipient, a Space Foundation Teacher Liaison, an educational advisor to the board at the Southern California Soaring Academy, and a member of both the National Science Teacher Association Advisory Board and the Aerospace and Dream Up Advisory Board. She holds a master's in STEM education from the NASA Endeavor program at Adams State College, a BA in Biblical Studies and Communications from Wheaton College, and is certified in gifted education instruction. She also holds a California teaching credential in science and multiple subjects. She's also presented at national conferences, including the California Association of the Gifted and the National Science Teacher Association, and many, many others. She's also led the iLEAD Consortium and the Student Space Flight, Space Flight to the International Space Station Mission 10, 11, and I think maybe a little bit more beyond that. We're going to be talking about it in a minute. But if that weren't enough, she's joined by Amber Soto, who is the oldest of 7 children, grew up in Antelope Valley. She was a standout student and athlete who played varsity soccer for 3 years. Following high school, Amber received 2 associate degrees, because one wasn't enough, from Antelope Valley College, and then she received her BS in Applied Mathematics and her Master's in Education with an emphasis on mathematics from UCLA. During that time, she balanced her brains with beauty and talent, becoming Miss Pear Blossom. She began her career in teaching, running an elementary school play intervention program. She taught math and AP Physics at Locke High School. Excelling there, she became a math coach, teaching and mentoring other teachers before becoming an assistant principal in the Anaheim Union High School District. From there, she joined iLEAD Schools as the Director of Mathematics, where she's served now for nearly 3 years. Ladies, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you. But I do have to caveat, actually, Amber's title is, and I have now dubbed it, and we will all accept it, it is Director of Mathematical Awesomeness. So please make that revision in your notes, and please refer to her as that going forward.
I will have to update it, but, you know, Amber, it's not going to be real until I see it on a business card. So talk to Creative Services. So before we get into Dream Up, because I know the two of you have been working really hard on Dream Up. In fact, Engineer Shane and I were trying to get you to stop working during the commercial break as you're bogging up the intercom here. But Kathleen, there's some really exciting things happening on the East Coast of our country today. We've got a historic launch taking place. I kind of describe it as Elon Musk's taxi cab or Uber vehicle, and He's taken passengers for the first time. You can do so much better at describing what's going on in Florida today and what the historical significance of it is. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, hashtag Launch America. So everyone, everywhere should be stopping. It's going to be on our time, Pacific time, 1:30, stopping to watch a launch of, we're using NASA's now hired, privatized space company so we can actually take our own astronauts to International Space Station to do lab work and to continue the investigations that need to happen there so we can move on to the moon and beyond. So this has never been done before. Since the shuttle program was retired, we've been going to Russia to get our rides to the International Space Station. So this is historic in so many ways. It's a great testament to our country, and I just hope that everyone will pause and recognize that the shift that we've moved from always using NASA to being able to use privatized space companies, and that's the shift that's happening all over space. work is the entrepreneurial factors that are actually moving things forward exponentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Hashtag Launch America.
Hashtag Launch America. Very cool.
You can, let me just say one other thing. You can go to Be Our Guest, NASA, just Google NASA Be Our Guest, and you can register, and then you can get all these great goodies, including stuff you can print and videos that you can see, stuff for kids, any kid age, 3 to 103 should be doing this anyway. But definitely go to Be My Guest, Be Our Guest, NASA, and you'll find that, and you can register for hashtag Launch America and see all the cool stuff there.
All right, very cool. Now,
I just did it.
Amber just did it. She's on there, and she's now NASA's guest. It is really cool, and it's a money saver as well, because the Russians were charging us a space arm and a space leg to get us up to the space station. So,
what I love, I ought to say, it's one thing. I was listening to the center director, NASA, Jim Bridenstine, however you want to say it. And yesterday he said he texted the two astronauts and said to them, "Are you good with this? Because you don't have to do this." And I love that voice and choice for adults. That he was like, because this has never been done, and this is a new thing. We're trying. And I love that he shared that vulnerability of saying to them, "Are you good with this? Are you still? Because if you want to pull out still the day before, you can."
That is a great wingman right there, and it's funny, although you two might not laugh, it reminds me a lot of my uncle on my parents' wedding day. About 3 hours before my mother and father got married, my uncle asked his brother, my father, "Hey, are you good with this? Are you good to go, or do we need to pull the plug?" And he pulled out of his breast pocket 2 airline tickets to Las Vegas and said, "If you're not good to go on this mission, we can pull the plug and we're out of here and we're in Vegas in just 3 hours." And fortunately for me, Dad said, "Nope, this is a mission we're good to go on. We're not scrubbing anything." So that's cool that he texted him and said, "Hey, if you're not cool with this, let's get you out of there." That is really cool.
Yeah.
So we're talking today about a launch of our own going on, and I'm not speaking in hyperbole. And I'm not speaking metaphorically. Kathleen, some of the work that you put together, you and Amber are putting together, that actually does make grammatical sense, at least in my brain. And some of the projects that you guys are working on with our learners gets launched as well and hitches a ride with Elon Musk. Can you give us a little bit of a background, Kathleen, on Dream Up? What are some of the past projects that you're working on? What is this project all about?
Well, it's really called Dream Up to Space, and we use a company called Dream Up, which is a sister company to NanoRacks. NanoRacks is what it's called. They're the payload integrator to the International Space Station. So
they're like Federal Express for space.
They are the FedEx, right? So we actually purchased their hardware and our ride and the astronauts' time through Dream Up, and we run a project. And this year, I had the great privilege of working on that in a virtual project with Amber. And kids design an experiment that could be run on space station, and then we actually will be sending 2 more. We've sent so far to date up to Station 7 projects. We sent 3 last March, and they've come back. So we're excited about it. And what we're really excited about, and Amber, I think you will say testament to this, is we put this out there just to anyone across all of our schools who wants to play, who would like to do this project. This is not a project they're doing in class. They're working with us, and Amber and I are mission control. We meet with them virtually once a week, and we have a great group of kids who are moving through this project right now.
So I can't highlight that enough. First of all, you say that they are designing projects that are being sent up to the space station. By they, you mean our learners, and you're not just talking about some of the cream of the crop high school senior physics specialists, are you? You're talking about kids from across the grade levels and different areas of specialty, aren't you?
Well, yeah. And what's amazing is that we originally, when we first started running this project, we focused on high school and maybe dipped down to 8th grade. But we've proven now, proof of concept, that this project can dip all the way down to 4th grade, and actually had an experiment sent last March, but that was authored by some 4th and 5th graders. And those kids right now are doing the heavy lifting. That same group of kids have decided to stay on to what's called post-flight analysis. They are now learning the skills and the content needed to be able to actually take the sample that came back from space and work with some scientists to actually analyze it and gather some data. So we're doing some really cool stuff here that I think is really, Amber, I don't know what your thought is as you're looking at this from the first time. To me, what I see is this is digging down and just really lighting kids on fire with inspiration.
You know, it is really exciting, and just to kind of give our listeners an idea of the kind of scut-to-butt process, our learners, again, from about, it's dipped down as young as 4th grade, I think you said, all the way through high school, are given the opportunity to create their own experiments, not recreate, like I want to make a volcano, but create their own experiments of how would this work? What would happen if, can we reproduce? What would it look like under microgravity, or to overly simplify, in space? And so they design their own experiments, they conduct them here on Earth, and they go through a deselection process, and some of the most flight-worthy projects actually get sent to the space station, where the same experiment is conducted by NASA scientists and then returned to our learners for, like you said, post-flight analysis, where they can compare what it looked like under regular Earth gravity circumstances and what it looked like under microgravity circumstances. They're actually at the forefront of space exploration and experimentation. So, Kathleen, you were going to flip it to Amber. Kathleen, you've been running this project kind of on your own with the support of a lot of the educators and then the kids that you're working with. But Amber, you got involved with the project this year. Can you tell me a little bit about what interested you, other than Kathleen's pleas for help? Why did you decide that that a math person should join this project this year?
It's funny because it has less to do with my math hat and a lot more to do with my mom hat.
All right.
Which is what triggered it. So Kathleen was saying that because everything went virtual and because of, the pandemic and everything changing, that we were thinking of letting go of the project for this year, or that a lot of people weren't jumping in to do it. And I said, no, that can't happen because I want my kid to be able to do it. And so I just said, whatever I can do, like I will tell you, my father, was a huge space component. I grew up with space. Like he loved it. He loved the stars. He loved the, everything having to do with it. And so that's been a huge part of my life. And so the opportunity to do this, I love the idea of having my son being able to kind of like have that piece of my father with him. And so initially I jumped in just because I wanted to make sure that it happened, because I think it's a beautiful opportunity for our kids. But now that I'm a part of it, I can't imagine not. I just feel so blessed that Kathleen has taken me as a part of this journey, because to be completely honest, it has been the coolest process. And there were certain things I was nervous about, like, are we going to be able to know how to do the written proposals? Are we going to be able to, how are we going to get here? But Kathleen is so good at stair-stepping things that by the time you get there, you feel so comfortable with it that you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is no problem. We're good to go. So I haven't even been doing it that long, and I feel like I'm a pro already just because of the way that we have jumped into it. It's been such a cool experience.
So you mentioned, like with a lot of things, when we got sent to quarantine, you have to re-examine what you're doing and how you're doing it, and you ask yourselves those hard questions. Can we still do this under the quarantine circumstances? How has this project shifted? Because I'm sure, I can imagine, I'm sure our listeners can imagine what this would look like if you're able to get in the lab with your biology facilitator every day and work on this. But when you're remote, it's got to be different. So what's it looking like now? How has it changed? How has it shifted?
Yeah, so that was actually one of the main things we talked about when Kathleen first when we first started talking about how we were going to do it is how it needs to look different. And so number one, things had to be accessible virtually. But number two, you know, it's a struggle with, okay, are we grading the kids? Are we making them do different things, but they're at home? You know, what about if they can't have access to these materials? So there were a lot of questions that we needed to try to modify so that it was accessible. And so what we landed on was we provide a guidance document that has hyperlinks in it for different activities that the kids can do. We have 3 must-dos at the top, which are generally like, these are the things you really need to know about this unit. And then we have several may-dos. So these are things you could do. And then we do things on a points and a badge system. So each activity is worth 4 points. And if they do 5 activities, so if they earn 20 points, they get a level 1 badge for that unit. Nice. If they do 32 points, so 8 activities, they get a level 2 badge. And if they do 40 points, so 10 activities, they get a level 2 badge as well as getting their picture put up on the iLEADaerospace.org website. And so that's kind of been one of those things where it's like, if you want to do it, you can, and you'll get these cool, you know, things that will come from it, but it's not something that we are going to come after you for. And we have found it to work beautifully. And not only are the kids digging in with that, we always add a bonus at the bottom that says, suggest to us or pitch to us an idea that you think could be on this list. And if it's, you know, something that works, you can do that in place of something else. And we have had so many kids pitching some really cool ideas that we've actually added it to the list for other kids to do as well. And we're finding that the kids, you know, as adults, a lot of times we tend to be like, okay, is this going to work? And for the kids, it's just second nature. They just jump in and do it. And so it's been a really, really cool process.
That is really cool. You know, we have our listeners ask from time to time, what is the key to doing project-based learning at home? And whether it's at home or in the classroom, that really is the key, is putting the kids in the driver's seat of their own education. I don't want to minimize the tremendous work that Amber and Kathleen, you've both done on this project and continue to do. But when we hand the education off to the kids, it really empowers them, and you see them accomplish things that you never thought were possible. We do have to take a quick commercial break. We're talking with Kathleen Fredette and Amber Soto, members of the iLEAD Maker team and leaders of the iLEAD Dream Up to Space project, where kids are actually designing experiments being conducted in space. It's really exciting. Like I said, we're going to go to a quick commercial, but please stick around. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this project as well as another exciting project that Kathleen's working on. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
David Cantrell and Fred Arnold of American Family Funding joined KHTS to discuss and shed some light on how the coronavirus impacts Santa Clarita residents financially.
Okay, so Fred, people are sheltering in place or just staying home, but they're thinking about interest rates and they're thinking about their own mortgages. What can they do right now?
You're probably one of the $11 trillion in loans out there, mortgage loans out there. Half of them could easily refinance because interest rates have dropped rather dramatically. As rates have gone up just a little bit in the short term, call your mortgage professional right away, your community mortgage professional, and do a quick interview. Do a quick analysis. When interest rates get to here, or here, does it make sense to refinance? Does it make sense to take cash out to cover some debt, to cover some college funds? Prepare for the future, because the future is going to get better without a doubt, number one. Some do it online, and we do have an application where you can do it all online. So if your mortgage professional is busy, ask them, do you have an application online? But it's no substitute to have a one-on-one conversation with your professional. Does it make sense to refinance? So that's the first thing you could do. The second thing is prepare your paperwork. Get your taxes completed. Know where your W-2s are. Know where your financial documents are. During these challenging economic times of uncertainty, If you, instead of cleaning out your closet, maybe clean out your financial records and know where everything is.
Right.
That would be very, very helpful. And last but not least, Dave, when you send information to your mortgage professional, make sure they send a secure link to send documents back so that the information, your private information, is not compromised.
Absolutely. That's very, very important. And we do have that link here in American Family Funding where it comes over encrypted and completely safe. So.
Absolutely. Just give us a call, or your mortgage professional will get that done.
Right.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities, including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. Or perhaps you're watching on Facebook Live at the KHTS Radio Facebook page. There we are. We're being joined this morning on Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers by Kathleen Fredette and Amber Soto. They are members of iLEAD's team of curriculum specialists, the iLEAD Maker team, and they're working on an incredible project that, even though we've been doing this project for a good 4 or 5 years now, maybe even more, it always just blows my mind when I hear what our kids are accomplishing. We're talking about the Dream Up to Space project, where learners at our iLEAD schools around the country are participating in a project that each year develops experiments to be conducted on the International Space Station. And Kathleen, not all of the experiments, in fact, not most of the experiments are ultimately conducted on the space station, but you mentioned in the past we've had 7 sent to space already. So can you talk for just a second about maybe 2 or 3 of those experiments? You can just give our listeners an idea of what kind of things we're talking about. What are some of the things that our kids are researching and finding out by conducting their experiments in space?
Yeah, it turns out we sent something maybe 4 launches ago that the question the kids came up with, it turns out that there's a bacteria in our mouth that causes plaque. That bacteria is killed when you drink black coffee.
Right.
Sorry, not cream and not a fancy coffee. So the question is, wow, is drinking black coffee going to be something that's actually helpful for astronauts? Because we have all these issues connected to the demise of our bodies when you're in space, radiation and microgravity, all the stuff that happens. So that was a project that we sent up to look to see if the bacteria would indeed also be killed in microgravity. That was awesome. Recently, there was some mycelium sent up. Mycelium is the best way to say it, kind of like root structure of mushrooms. So it turns out mycelium can be used as a base for textiles or for even building material. So we sent up some turkey tail, some kids did, not me, and they were wondering to see what would happen to this turkey tail, which is a kind of mushroom, in microgravity. We also sent up recently some algae, And the algae was some kids in 4th and 5th grade from SCVi went to Santa Barbara, and they harvested it right off the beach. They dried it, desiccated it is the real word, and then it was brought, quote, it comes back to life once it's, connected with enriched seawater. So it was brought back to life, so to speak, on space station, grew there, and then they actually had to, quote, kill it in space because you have to start and stop an experiment in space. Okay, so why would we do these things? Well, when we go to Mars or when we go to the moon, we're not going to be able to send up stuff. It's too expensive. So we have to figure out what are the things that we're going to grow there and how will we grow them. And so these are the kind of driving questions that we kind of move the kids to. We try to think about what's your life like here, what's it going to be like when you're on the moon or Mars and you can't get a shipment from Amazon. You're going to have to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And so that helps them to start to think about what are the things that I enjoy here and take for granted. And what would that look like for me if I was in charge of figuring that piece out? So that's the beginning of a basis of having that conversation with kids.
So
although I don't know, I think Amazon will find a way.
Okay, so Amazon is very innovative, very creative, but that was kind of a mind shift for me a few years back when these learners presented their Mycelium Project to me. I was walking around at our Space and Innovation Expo, and they shared their project with me, and they said, Mr. Watson, when we colonize Mars and the moon, we're not going to be able to put a bunch of bricks on a space shuttle and send them up there to build our buildings. And if we did that, it would take us eons to get anything built. We're going to have to be able to create our own building materials there. And they were wondering if they could use mushrooms to grow something that was as strong as brick, but just a tiny fraction of the weight. And I thought that was just fascinating. Now, we've mentioned that, you've had hundreds of kids participate in this project over the last 5-6 years, but only 7 of the projects, representing what I'm guessing maybe a couple dozen learners, have actually flown. So talk to me about the kids whose projects don't fly. I can imagine it's a bit of a letdown for kids that don't get selected, but what does this project accomplish for those who aren't able to move forward to the later rounds?
Thanks for asking that question. So we cracked that nut the last couple launches, and someone asked me that question. Like they said, hey, this how do we move this so that more kids and the whole school is touched by this, the whole community and the community at large? Kind of like when you have a CFI team, you're like, woo, we're the team. So we created something called a launch team. And so last year, in fact, I can tell you that if a team's project is selected for flight, they have to submit to us as part of the finalist process what their launch team will look like, how they will move this into their school site community, and how they will actually do some fundraising, because we send the kids back to Kennedy Space Center to present and to be there for the launch, how they're actually going to pay for part of the cost. iLEAD pays for part of that cost of sending the space station that I mentioned, but how are they going to pay for it too? So they put out like a, call for proposals, or like who wants to be on the launch team? And kids applied to be on the launch team. They understood what they were signing up for. And again, this wasn't part of a class. And we had some kids who had written a proposal. Their proposal was not accepted, but they joined the launch team. And they got to be part of that whole launch team experience, which is also included, called experiment optimization. And what that means is we're getting the experiment ready. So we hope that we're going to get a little piece of data that we can add to the pile of data that everyone is, all scientists are putting together to say, what do we need to do to get to Moon and Mars? So we're excited that it doesn't reside with just 2 kids anymore.
Yeah.
And Amber and I were talking about this last night, because now that we're doing this virtually, we've got kids from homeschool, from online, from regular site-based, and they're all over. And what are we going to do? Because some of these kids are teaming from 2 different sites, their homeschool and their, and so we're really excited about what's going to happen next, what's going to emerge.
Yeah,
it's
and
going to be different.
It is. And, I think about even kids that aren't able to parlay off of their project and onto somebody else's launch team. The learners that participate in this project are really expanding their mind, and they're stretching, right? They're in the authentic research and development team for this problem or that problem, even if they don't get to fly. Because, as we see, I was blessed enough a couple years ago to be on one of the deselection teams that analyzed a lot of these different projects. And some of the projects that our kids put forward are exciting, fascinating, extremely worthy projects, and they're just not what we call flight worthy, because you've got some very limited constraints. It's got to be able to fit in this tiny test tube that's called a mixed stick, and it's got to be something that, like you said, can be analyzed after its time in space. It has to start and end there. And so, for example, if you've got an experiment that starts but it doesn't end, there's no way of telling did this fungus or did this plant grow while it was in space, or did it grow on its way back, or things like that. And so there are some exciting projects happening that aren't necessarily flight worthy. I thought of one school. It was not an iLEAD school, a school I think from Texas that had a very interesting idea, fascinating idea, very, very worthy. Not flight worthy at all, not doable. There were some learners from Texas a few years ago that participated in a very similar project, talking about what's going to happen or what's the effect of microgravity on human reproduction. And they proposed in the mixed stick, combining a human sperm cell and egg cell and conceiving a human zygote there in space. And obviously it brings up tremendous ethical issues and what do you do with this now fertilized egg cell once it's gone through that process of fertilization. Something that they couldn't do, but you can see the thought and the work and the scientific background that those kids developed there in Texas was fascinating. Now, Kathleen, you're also working on, while we're working virtually, a totally different project called Science Accelerator. Can you take just a minute or two to explain to our listeners what's going on with the Science Accelerator project, what that is all about, and what you're doing with that?
Yeah, so this is another space project, space-related, where kids are asking the question, what are the products and innovations we'll need to colonize Moon and Mars? And they learn, through research, they think of an idea, and then they're thinking like an entrepreneur, as well as a scientist, as well as a colonizer, to create a pitch for that project. And we've been running this project throughout the year. It's had some bumps this year because of, what's happened and moving virtually. But we have 4 teams from SCVi that just submitted their video pitches to the office of NASA Ames, the chief scientist office at NASA Ames. He's a supporter and a mentor of this project, and we are really proud because, again, this project was run in high school. It was run in the 8th grade classroom, and it was run as an elective. So it was part of a project. It was part of the curriculum in 2 classes and then an elective. And we had probably over 200 kids originally submitting ideas. And then we whittled that down and we moved into phase 2, where these kids are like doing this on top of their work. And so I'm very, very proud that we've had 4 teams submit ideas. And on the 2nd and 3rd of June, they will be doing a virtual presentation to the Office of the Chief Scientist at NASA Ames, team there. And then there'll be a virtual awards ceremony. And this is connected to also some kids who are doing the same thing in Israel. And so they've also been going through the same process, and they'll also be presenting on the 2nd and 3rd. So we're greatly blessed to have been part of a really other exciting project. And Nazi Kaufman, who I'm sure you've talked to on the radio, has partnered with me this year to bring this to SCVi and has done a fabulous job. Just like Amber, fabulous job. I'm so blessed to be working with those women of great skill and talent.
Well, I am so proud that you have not only been able to help our classroom facilitators and their learners develop such incredible projects, but you've continue to carry those projects on, even though we've shifted to distance learning. You've kept them connected to the deeper learning that's happening. You've kept them connected to industry experts and scientists literally at the top of their field worldwide, and you're continuing to provide those experiences even though we've had to move to distance learning, and I thank you for that. Amber, I wanted to ask you about a project that you've been working on lately. You've been helping people get out of their own mathematical way virtually, haven't you? Are you still recording videos every day?
Yes, sir.
So talk to us a little bit about those videos that you're producing and what it is. What's your goal with the videos you're making, and how's it going?
Okay, so it's called Math Resource Showcase, and the idea is that initially when everything shifted very quickly to virtual, a lot of people came to me and said, there are so many resources, but we have no idea and don't have the time to look through them all and figure out which ones are good for us. So that kind of just sparked a thought in my brain that I would sift through the different resources and pick different ones to showcase each day in short little videos. So essentially it's just me showcasing different free resources that are out there, and then each day with that resource I pose some kind of a challenge or a problem to be solved, and then the next day I post the solution. So I've been doing it for about 6 weeks now, I think. And I have a couple more weeks to go before sweet summertime.
And what are the responses that you're getting on that? Are you hearing back from learners or families that are enjoying those videos?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because there's a lot of times where people will mention seeing the video that I had no idea they saw it. And I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I guess people are watching that I didn't realize, but. I think that the biggest thing has been that I've been able to create like a spreadsheet where I keep them all. And so I'm realizing that even though it's a lot of work right now, in the long run, I'll be able to use this, if somebody's asking about a particular resource and I can say, hey, just watch this. So it's something that I think the gathering together of all these will be really, really helpful for me personally in the position that I'm in the future. So I'm excited about how they've come.
And if you are interested in those math resources that Amber's talking about, I just posted them on our Facebook Live video. If you're on the KHTS Facebook Live feed, KHTS Radio, go ahead and click on the link there. Ladies, I want to express my gratitude. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're doing such incredible things, and Kathleen, you mentioned how blessed you are to be supported by so many people. I am so blessed to hear about all the incredible things that you guys are doing, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for having us.
Of
course.
Anytime. You guys have a great day.
Maddie.
You guys have a great
All
day.
right.
We're going to take one last commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to our friend Kristina de Bree. She's going to be helping us deal with some of those issues that we all struggle with. And for more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. You'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools' Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Hi, son. Can you help me back up this truck into the Dutton Plumbing warehouse?
Hold it. Turn off the truck. What's going on?
Well, I was watching the news.
Uh-oh.
And I heard we should stock up on supplies. So I just bought a whole truckload of toilet paper for us.
Mom, we don't need this much toilet paper. This receipt says 100 cases. We'll never use that much.
I think we will. When the Senior Ladies Club goes out for Taco Tuesdays, and they can really tear it up.
Now I can't unsee that. How about if we just share all the toilet paper with our customers?
Maybe something like call now and get a roll of Dutton Plumbing toilet paper for just $73.
Maybe that would work better if we threw in a free drain clearing, Mom?
DuttonPlumbing.com. Get a roll of toilet paper for just $73 plus a free drain clearing. It flows or it's free with a money-back guarantee. Go to DuttonPlumbing.com.
If you're tired of your nail polish chipping a day or two after an expensive manicure, then you'll love the gel nail polish manicure now offered by Ann. Ann is a licensed manicurist serving the Santa Clarita Valley in Canyon Country for over 15 years. And now she's offering the gel manicure that lasts without chipping for up to 2 weeks. Log on to hometownstation.com for details on how to get an amazing deal on gel nails by Ann on Restaurant Row, or call Ann at 250-8340.
I'm Matt Denny, CPA, with Denny & Company, LLP, your hometown CPAs. Here are some tips to help you with anxiety you may have about your income tax returns for 2019. The deadlines for filing both state and federal returns have been extended to July 15. Both the state and the feds are also extending the time for making 2019 tax payments otherwise due, without interest or penalty, to July 15. These details keep changing, so contact us at 661-286-8860 or see our website at dennyllp.com.
Today for lunch, why not try The Sandwich Shop, located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. The Sandwich Shop offers dozens of hot or cold, affordable, premium deli sandwiches. Gourmet soups and salads are also available. Regulars indulge in the cheesy focaccia rolls, which is a customer favorite. Then top it off with owner Charlie Chung's chunky chocolate chip cookies. Breakfast and catering is also available. The Sandwich Shop, since 1983. Located on Avenue Stamford, right off Rye Canyon. ValenciaSandwichShop.com to place your order.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers, brought to you by SCVi and iLEAD Schools. We are joined now by Kristina de Bree. She is our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist. She's got an incredible story of resilience and determination. If you don't know Kristina's story, well, you need to sit down with her and have a conversation, or, maybe wait a couple years and then pick up the book. Kristina really does need to write a book about her story. It's really incredible. She was delivered a pretty rough diagnosis early on in life, weeks into life, and she went into social distancing and quarantine years, decades before the rest of us. But you know what? She learned to deal with it. It became her new normal, and she not only learned to cope and deal with the trauma and the difficulties that she was forced to face early on in life, but then she flipped it. She flipped the script and went to school and learned to take that experience and help the rest of us work through our own traumas and different issues that we've been dealing with. She's become an expert in phobias, performance enhancement, attachment disorder, suicide prevention, grief, all different kinds of innovative therapies, and she now practices here in Valencia. She's got 18 years or more of public speaking experience working with medical professionals, patients, schools, parents, business professionals. Kristina, welcome in this morning. We appreciate you coming back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Kristina, we have been observing Mental Health Awareness Month all month long. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we've been talking about trauma and how to deal with our traumas and depression and anxiety. You've given us some great tips on dealing with all of those things, and continue to remind us to take care of ourselves and reach out for help if we need it. You were telling us yesterday that sometimes talk therapy doesn't work, though. And you went over a few reasons why it might not work for some of us. So can you clarify just a little bit for us? What is talk therapy, and what are some of its limitations?
So talk therapy is the most common type of therapy, and it is the oldest form of therapy that exists. And there have previously been a lot of research to support it. And it can help with certain issues. It can be very effective for family, for resolving family conflict or marital conflict. That being said, it has its limitations. So some of the limitations are, number one, treatment is usually long-term, which is therefore makes it more expensive. The focus is on managing the symptoms instead of eliminating the underlying cause of the problem. And which ultimately just means that the underlying problem does not get fixed. So it's a Band-Aid over the wound type of deal. So that's why I found EMDR after having gone to through 7 different types of therapists, and I was getting Band-Aid over the wound type therapy for 20 years until I found EMDR and realized that I was completely able to eradicate. And that's how I became passionate about specializing in EMDR and using that in my practice. And this is what's common. I have so many clients that come to me. I will sometimes have teenage clients that have been to 4 or 5 different therapists, and they are misdiagnosed with something, and ultimately they end up having a different diagnosis, which we're more easily able to diagnose through the use of EMDR. And EMDR is it's done much faster, which makes it less expensive. It's endorsed by numerous professional associations worldwide. There's no homework that you have to do in between session. It's focused on processing and less talking. So even though you might be saying a few words in between sessions, it's overall not considered a talk therapy. And it does eliminate the core problems. So it can't erase organic problems. For example, if you are genetically, someone living with bipolar 1 or schizophrenia, it's not going to eliminate genetic organic problems, but it can eliminate other problems. And there are many things that can be fixed with EMDR.
And I love that you're getting to the root of the problems and not just patching it up. We're going to talk a little bit more about that with Kristina tomorrow. That is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank our guests, Jason Gibbs from VIA, Kathleen Fredette and Amber Soto from iLEAD, and Kristina de Bree, licensed marriage and family therapist. Join us again tomorrow at 9 a.m. We've got some inspiring stories of triumph to share with you. You are listening to your hometown station, KHTS.